The wars in Israel, Ukraine, rage on. So do the wars among Republicans in Congress. Did the president's message make a difference? Let's bring in New York Republican member of Congress, Mike Lawler. So, Mike, I'm reviewing a little bit of social media, dangerous place to go, of course, just to see what other members of Congress were taken away from the president's speech. And so far, both sides of the aisle seem to say the urgency is real. We have to act to protect our interests. I know that there's some talk about bundling and Ukraine and Israel, and it should be separate. But did you get the president's message, and are you on board with giving the support to the people we need to protect right now?
Look, I have supported continuing funding in Ukraine throughout my time in Congress and will continue to. My wife is from Moldova. Her family lives on the Ukraine border. So I understand firsthand the circumstances and the realities that, our allies in Eastern Europe are dealing with. Vladimir Putin is a thug and dictator and needs to be held accountable. Look, Israel is our closest ally, and Hamas, a terrorist organization backed and funded by Iran, needs to be eliminated. Just today in the House Foreign Affairs Committee, my bill, the SHIP Act, which would increase sanctions on anyone who is purchasing, refining, transporting Iranian petroleum, passed overwhelmingly. And so to Ambassador Bolton's point, we need to increase sanctions on Iran for petroleum. That's what funds the terrorism. So we need to support Israel. We need to support Ukraine. I would like to move both packages as quickly as possible. But I don't want to get into this situation where we're holding up one over the other. If we need to move Israel aid, we need to do it. And obviously, Congress needs to get back to work. The House floor needs to get open. It's why I support empowering Patrick McHenry to serve temporarily as Speaker pro tem with the authority to move legislation, because we just do not have the time to waste. And there's too much at stake.
Also, fair to say that Jim Jordan's penchant for being a disruptor, that he would scuttle this. He'd say, no, we're not doing both. It's too much money. I want to unpack the Ukraine funding. I want to unpack what Biden's getting out of it because he's getting money from Ukraine or whatever his suspicion is of the moment. And that this is too important for that right now. And do you think this works against Jim Jordan's slim chances of staying in the race?
Look, the conference has had many conversations with Jim, including on the issue of Ukraine. Obviously, the overwhelming majority of members of the House support continued funding for Ukraine, as well as in the Senate. But again, this is going to be a discussion that has to be had within the House Republican majority. And I don't want to hold up one over the other. Obviously, we need to move aid to Israel quickly.
But if they're coupled, Congressman, he's going to couple them. So if they come together.
I know what the president obviously ideally would like to see done here. But again, I mean, there is objection within the House over additional funding for Ukraine, especially around transparency and accountability and what the mission is. I think obviously the president outlined, his view of why Ukraine is important. I share the general view that the president has on that. But I think that conversation is going to continue. I think everybody other than the squad is in clear agreement about Israel. And wants to make sure that we get our closest ally in the Middle East every bit of support that they need.
Are you worried that this issue may come back to haunt your party if there is a delay on getting funding into the Middle East? Ukraine seems to be at a little bit more of an understandable pace. It's going to take some time, but this is a very explosive situation in the Middle East. And if you guys delay it because you're fighting amongst yourselves about who's going to be your pack leader or whatever, that it may come back to haunt in the elections if there's enduring pain in Israel.
I'm less worried about the elections and more worried about the people in Israel right now. And I think obviously I want to move aid as quickly as possible, meaning we open the House floor and start moving the requests that the administration is put forth expeditiously.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.